9,
8,
7,
6,
5,
4,
3.
2, 1.
Boom! All right. Wow, I get all nervous with that music.
So tense.
Yeah, so tense.
And it ends with that final Rogue One explosion.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, everyone. It's Tuesday morning, which means that we are about 8 hours ahead of our recording time normally.
Yes. Yeah, we're recording early today because we have some errands and we decided we're going to record early today.
Yeah,
And then we can edit.
Edit all day long
Mm.
in and around
Fun.
stuff.
Okay. Well, so I'm going to hit record. How about that? Record. Okay. We are ready to go.
Yeah. Oh, no, we're not.
No, we're not. All right. Speak.
I will speak. I will speak. I will speak.
That's very good. All right. It's time.
Then let's go.
It's time for claps.
Oh,
Clappy claps.
where is my head? We're not even into it, and my head is already boom.
That's okay.
That's how excited I am. I'm gonna get right into it. Ready?
Yes.
Go, 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 go.
This is what you can look forward to on episode 481 of Skywalking Through Neverland.
Hey, Skywalkers, a new dawn is upon us. Well, it was back in 2014 when Star Wars hit the restart reboot button. Then it all began, not with Luke and Leia, but with Kanan Jarrus and Hera Syndulla. There's so much to get into, but first, we want to welcome you back to Skywalking Through Neverland. I am Richard Woloski, but now everyone please say hello to my sweetie wife, who is Hera bounding.
Yay! Yes, I am. I've got my orange, got my green. Hera colors are so pretty and fresh and springy, I would say.
Yeah, if I were Kanan bounding, I'd be like all in grays.
Yeah,
With a little
no,
green, the green.
he's
the
got orangish, right? No.
No, he's got that green, like very tight shirt.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's kind of like an off green.
Yes.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm bounding as a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, you have this really nice shirt, which I don't remember where we got it from. But
I
it's
don't
got
think
a
I've
bunch
ever
of
worn this before.
TIE fighters and Imperial symbols over it, and we think it's box lunch. Her universe.
Oh,
It says our universe.
I found it in my closet. It's like, hey, this doesn't look familiar. I'll wear this.
You know what? I think I'm remembering now. I think I bought you this shirt and something else to get the Ashley Eckstein signed pins. You know, she always puts out a pin for Black Friday.
Oh yeah,
that's a Star Wars pin that if you buy a certain amount on her universe online, you get the pin.
But oddly enough, I put it in my closet and it just got buried in there.
Yeah.
Until now, it's making its debut on episode 481 of Skywalking Through Neverland.
Well, we are your enthusiastic podcast destination for the many decades of your Star Wars, Disney, Marvel, and pop culture fandom. So it's time. It's time for your weekly Wookiee hug and your little sprinkle of pixie dust for our family of Skywalkers. Now, we are recording this live on the Skywalking Through Neverland YouTube channel right now. Hey, says Adam O'Brien, popping in, which makes sense. Isn't he from Down Under?
He is from Down Under.
So that means it's like tomorrow there, or it's tonight or something.
I think it's October in Australia.
Yep. All right. So we love that when you pop in live, and Adam loves the shirt.
Well, thank you, Adam. Thank you very much.
Now, just so you know, last week we were so excited on YouTube. Our numbers keep going up, our subscribers, and we asked for how many?
We asked for 5. We had 9,075 subscribers on YouTube.
Okay.
We said, get us to 9080.
Okay.
That's what we want.
9,080 subscribers.
Well, guess what the Skywalkers did? The Skywalkers got us to...
Whoa, 9,093.
Yes.
Whoa, that's amazing.
That's 18. We asked for 5. They said, we'll do more than that. We'll triple that plus some.
That's amazing.
And they got us at 90, 93.
Wow.
Now, you know what that means.
Yes. Next week, 9,100.
We need 7 more to hit that 9,100 mark.
Let's do it. Let's do it, Skywalkers.
You know what? It's the Skywalkers. I know they'll get us there.
All right. Well, in this episode, we celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the novel Star Wars A New Dawn by John Jackson Miller. Now, this book details the very first meeting of Hera Syndulla and Kanan Jarrus, which then dovetails into Star Wars Rebels and the rebooted Star Wars canon. This was the very first Star Wars novel that came out after the acquisition of Star Wars by Disney.
Yeah, and they said, okay, we need to hit the restart button.
Yes.
His stories are all over the place.
Right. Now, at this point, the existing stories were rebranded Legends for the expanded universe. Everyone remember that? Everyone was like freaking out. I remember that. And then, or you can call them legacy novels now, where the stories still exist in the timeline and you can kind of, they're labeled legends. Like these stories have been passed down generations, things like that. So they may not be exactly true, but the stories are still there.
Like 99%
exactly
truth, which means there's still some wiggle room if they want to restructure something or recall a point that was made. But pretty much it's all right there in Legends.
Yes.
All right, now we are recording this from Long Beach, California. All right, now we are being sponsored by Small World Vacations, and they are a diamond level Disney vacation planner travel agency and can help you book your trip to a Disney park around the world or on a Disney cruise. And best of all, this service is free of charge. So check them out and tell them
Skywalking.
So head over there to smallworldvacations.com for a no obligation price quote and tell them Skywalking Through Neverland sent you.
Now, we are recording this episode from Long Beach, California on September 2nd, 2024. So, Richard, what happened today in Star Wars history?
Well, the thing that happened is the thing that themed this week's episode. So on this day, September the 2nd, in 2014, 10 years ago, which seems like yesterday.
It does.
Yeah. Star Wars A New Dawn, written by John Jackson Miller with a foreword by Dave Filoni, is released by Del Rey. And like you said, this is the prequel to Star Wars Rebels, and it was the first novel published. There were other stories published, but this is the first novel published.
Got it.
In the new Star Wars timeline.
Okay.
And so this book, A New Dawn, takes place 8 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith, 6 years before Star Wars Rebels, and 11 years before Star Wars.
Like the Death Star.
The
A New Hope.
BBY.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
Before Battle of Yavin.
Yeah.
Or I just call it Star Wars.
Oh,
some may call it A New Hope. Some may say BBY. So 11 years before Star Wars A New Hope, BBY.
Got it.
All right, now John Jackson Miller, his previous book Kenobi had just come out in 2014, and he was looking for his next project when Del Rey approached him about writing a tie-in novel for Star Wars Rebels, since they were interested in doing a book focused on the heroes.
Right.
And this is much like those interstitial shorts from Cartoon Network that would introduce the new heroes in like a 3-minute short.
Right.
Well, Del Rey said, hey, let's do something longer than 3 minutes and do a book.
For those fans who like to, dive into something long, like me. Yeah, I don't like 2-minute shorts.
Yeah, it's taken me 10 years to read A New Dawn, but I got it done. So yeah, Del Rey said, hey, we have an idea. Write something focused on the heroes of the Star Wars Rebels, really focusing really on Kanan and Hera.
Got it.
So not Sabine and Zeb.
Right.
And Ezra will meet in Star Wars Rebels.
Exactly. Right.
All right, now with that, let's take a deep dive into Star Wars A New Dawn.
Perfect. Oh, watching from work. Hi, Amy.
Hey, Amy.
Hi, Pierre.
Hey, Pierre.
Hey. Okay, so I'm going to switch over the settings. Take that off.
We need to put up our fancy schmancy graphics that Sarah just designed.
Mm-hmm. Boop. There we go. And overlay. There it is. Boop. Ah, look at it. Isn't that cute?
That's very cute. I
Okay.
love it. All right, so A New Dawn has got an opening crawl. If you're
Oh.
doing something in Star Wars, well, you need an opening crawl,
Yes, you do.
except for Rogue One.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Does Solo? Solo doesn't have.
Solo has got not the crawl that goes into space, but the crawl that crawls up the screen.
Yeah, it has like, it doesn't have a paragraph and it posts another paragraph or something like that. Yeah. Okay.
All right, but this is a book, so we'll call it a prologue.
Okay.
So in the prologue, it says, for 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights brought peace and order to the Galactic Republic, aided by their connection to the mystical energy field known as the Force. But they were betrayed, and the whole galaxy has paid the price. It is the age of the Empire. Now, Emperor Palpatine, once Chancellor of the Republic and secretly a Sith follower of the dark side of the Force, has brought his own peace and order to the galaxy. Peace and order in quotes. Peace through brutal repression, and order through increasing control of his subjects' lives. But even as the Emperor tightens his iron grip, others have begun to question his means and motives. And still others whose lives were destroyed by Palpatine's machinations, they lie scattered around the galaxy like bombs waiting to go off. Wow, that's poetic.
That is. All right, hold just a second, because I notice we aren't recording on the back end of this, but I want to make sure that if it goes out on YouTube, we should be able to download the YouTube version of the live stream.
Why this is being recorded?
No, it's not being recorded on the back end, because I think because there's not a recording button here. So
Oh.
give me a second. Let me check something.
All right. Hold, please.
Yes. Live. This was things we want to share from yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm gonna see is if I can copy this video and we can download it from 4K video downloader,
All right.
then we're gonna be fine. But I want to double check because we might have to
of
start
course,
over.
Of course.
So Skywalkers, give us 1 minute. Can I get out of here?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I need this. YouTube Studio. Where are you guys? So watching from work. Where else is everyone watching from? Let us know.
We gotta make sure this is recording.
Yeah. Live. If I can just download the video straight from here, then we're gonna be fine.
This is live wraparounds.
Where?
Up top.
Well, I know that. No. Where was yesterday's live stream?
Right down below.
Oh,
Hold on.
where?
Yeah.
Oh, live replay. No.
Here?
I want to check something. Get shareable link. I want to make sure that I can
Or remind me later.
paste this and download it. If we can, then we'll just keep live streaming.
Okay.
Oh,
right, hang
North
on
Carolina. Cool. High def.
Oh, Dan Boris is watching from work.
All right. Well, it's at 720p. So it's not going to be the highest resolution. But if we don't mind that.
No, we'll put a filter over it.
Okay. Let's just double check. All right. So it is download a filter. What do you mean by that?
I don't know. We'll fix it in post. That's what that
All
means.
right. Well, the highest resolution will be 720p, basically. Okay.
That's 720p. Ew.
Oh, watching. Okay, everyone's watching from work.
What kind of show do you think
or-
this is that we can broadcast in 720p? I've never heard such flagrant disregard for quality as what you just said, Sarah.
Well,
Flagrant, I said.
if we want to do it at 1020p, we have to start the whole thing over. So
720 it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Watching from our porch. Okay, cool. All right. So just FYI, this episode will be 720p.
Okay.
Okay.
I can deal with 720p. And
That,
most people will just watch it on their phones anyway. So.
seriously. All right.
I know those of you who are watching this from work
Yeah.
or from the porch, are you watching it on what kind of device? A laptop, a phone, an iPad?
Yeah.
We want to know.
Yes. All right. Well, it is downloading, so we should be able to
All
download
right,
it.
that's fine.
All right. All right, Skywalker. So sorry about that. Computer. Oh, computer. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay, cool. So that's downloading, and we already have our good audio, so that's no problem there.
All right.
All right, so where were we? Story summary.
Okay.
Okay.
So why don't you dive into
Okay.
this? Okay. Are you ready?
Yes. All right, so now we're going to give you a story summary in case it's been a long time since you read it, or
Yes.
if you've never read this book. So,
Yeah. So that opening crawl is more of the story, but this is more of the plot.
yes. Okay, here we go. Ever since the Jedi were marked for death and forced to flee Coruscant, Kanan Jarrus has devoted himself to staying alive rather than serving the Force. Wandering the galaxy alone from one anonymous job to another, he avoids trouble, especially with the Empire, at all costs. So when he discovers a deadly conflict brewing between ruthless Imperial forces and desperate revolutionaries, he's not about to get caught in the crossfire. Then, the brutal death of a friend at the Empire's hands forces the ex-Jedi to make a choice. Bow down to fear or stand up and fight. But Kanan won't be fighting alone. Unlikely allies, including a bomb-throwing radical, a former Imperial surveillance agent, a vengeful security officer, and the mysterious Hera Syndulla, team up with Kanan to challenge the Empire. As a crisis of apocalyptic That's hard. Apocalyptic proportions? Come on. Say that 5 times fast. Everyone try it. I can't do it.
Apocalyptic proportions.
Okay, you say that sentence.
Wait, no, you go on.
Okay. As a crisis of apocalyptic proportions unfolds on the planet Gorse, they must stand together against one of the Empire's most fearsome enforcers for the sake of a world and its people.
There you have it. That's a pretty intense story right there. All right, now along with Kanan and Hera, we get some new characters in A New Dawn.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right, my favorite is Count Dimitris Vidian.
Okay, why is he your favorite?
Because he's a Darth Vader wannabe. Almost like Kylo Ren wants to be like Darth Vader. Count Vidian just wants to be a Darth Vader type. He's a cyborg, and he's an Imperial technocrat who serves as the Emperor's efficiency expert in the initial years of the Galactic Empire's reign. And he's described in the book as the Emperor's fixer. I want a whole series on the Emperor's fixer. Think Ray Donovan in the Star Wars saga.
Right.
How exciting. Oh, hold on. Darth Vader. What am I thinking? Darth Vader is the Emperor's fixer.
He really is.
But when it comes to Imperial business, then Vidian is the man. Darth Vader was more of the henchman of the Emperor. In Star Wars, he wasn't really part of the Empire.
Okay.
He was just more like Thrawn in his assassin Rook.
Yes.
So Vader was the assassin for the Emperor.
Okay.
So it wasn't until the Empire Strikes Back he became more in the Empire's reign. So this is more of the political fixer.
Right.
Is Count Vidian.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Now his skin graft is a cortosis mesh.
Now wait a minute. Cortosis, is that what's in the helmet of the acolyte?
Yes, of the stranger.
The stranger?
Yes, so
Ooh.
this can deflect lightsaber blows.
Whoa.
So he's got a whole skin graft with cortosis mesh.
I don't remember reading that. Okay.
Now, he had been tasked by the Emperor with improving the efficiency of thorolide mining and processing operations on Gorse and its moon, Cinda. Now, thorolide is a very prized commodity in this book, and it's used to manufacture the shock absorbers of turbo lasers for Star Destroyers.
Right.
So, like when we go to Rise the Resistance, and when the turbo lasers do work, that's what thorolide is. It's the shock absorbers for those big turbo lasers.
So they haven't gotten their shipment of thorolide at Galaxy's Edge for a long time.
That's you just made that into canon.
I did.
Oh, call Julie Gildersleeve.
Yes. Julie, you need some thorolide. Oh, that's funny. And so basically at this time, the Empire is building and building and building. They're building Star Destroyers. They're building Super Star Destroyers. And so the Emperor is like, we need Thorolide. We need Thorolide. And so...
Yeah, because there's like so many turrets and guns and turbo
Yes.
lasers on a Star Destroyer. If
Yeah.
you don't have these shock absorbers,
You're right.
these Star Destroyers are just gonna shake apart.
Right. So they keep on upping their quota of Thorolide every, the yearly quota, and to a level that like is unobtainable.
Right. And then they have to go to the moon of Cinda and just deplete. That's what the Empire does. It finds the planets and moons and depletes them of its resources.
Depletes the resources.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, Vidian really reminded me of General Grievous.
Oh yeah, I can
very
see that.
much so, because like I guess when he was a person, like a human, he had some terrible accident.
Yes.
And he was able to then
Reform
have these skin grafts
as a cyborg.
Right. And so he actually has a brain that he like downloads data every day and then deletes data every day, like before he sleeps. Yeah, this is Vidian.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's extremely interesting character.
Oh, this is a great character.
Yeah.
And the Imperial bureaucrat fixer. I just love that concept.
Right.
Now, also we have Ray Sloan.
Right.
And
Now that name sounds familiar.
Yeah, this is her first appearance. After this, she was in the books Kanan Book 2, First Blood, which is my favorite Sylvester Stallone movie, and the Aftermath trilogy.
Yes.
And when I was reading this, like, wait a minute, Ray Sloan, where have I seen that name before?
Very
It's like,
familiar voice.
Aftermath.
Right.
Now, she is a young captain of the Star Destroyer Ultimatum, a great name for a Star Destroyer. And she's a very rare case of being a high-ranking female officer in the Empire.
Right.
A young female officer?
And I think she's just barely 30. I think that's what they mentioned here in this book. Yeah, and in this book, you'll learn that she was promoted by Count Vidian because he basically wanted her there as his yes man or yes woman at this point.
Yeah, she's young and impressionable.
Exactly.
Now, in the later books, Ray, she achieved not Ray, but Ray Sloan.
Right.
This Ray, she achieves the rank of admiral and eventually leads the Imperial remnants into the unknown regions where they are reorganized into, wait for it, the First Order.
Whoa.
So she has got a great impact on Star Wars storytelling moving forward.
Yeah, when I first read that name in here, I'm like, wait, I know that name. So yeah, she's big character in the Aftermath trilogy. All right, then we have Okadiah Garson. Now, he is a Thorolide miner, and he owns a bar that all the miners go to at the end of the night on the it's called the Asteroid Belt, and it's on the planet Gorse. So basically every day the miners go and mine the moon, Cinda, and then what is it? Kanan's job is to basically bring them from
He's a freighter
the planet Gorse to Cinda every day. And then after they're done mining, he takes them back and everyone goes to the asteroid belt where Okadiah is the bartender there. And he took Kanan under his wing, giving him a home and a place to work at the bar. And yeah, so I guess he was the reason that Kanan has this job as an explosives freighter pilot.
Yeah, at this point, Kanan has, after he left the Jedi Order, he's been flitting around the galaxy looking for something to do, and Okadiah took him under his wing and gave him a job and a purpose.
Now, Okadiah is the person. So we're going to do spoilers for this book. So it's been out 10 years. Yeah. So in this book, Count Vidian, he destroys Gorse, the planet, to test a new way to mine Thorolide, to meet the Emperor's unrealistic quota of Thorolide, because those turbo lasers aren't working in Batu. Right. So in the process, thousands die, including Okadiah. And his death is just another strike against the Empire for Kanan. And the reason that Kanan then teams up with Hera to go along and try to stop him from crushing Cinda.
Yeah, Hera at this point, she's been watching Vidian and his oppressive strikes against the civilians.
Oh yeah,
like, this is not right. And now you see a little faction of a rebel cell beginning to build.
Yeah, just very, very slow, very small.
Yeah, this happens all over the galaxy.
Yes.
Now, Skelly, he is an explosive expert who once lived on the planet Gorse, and he is a veteran of the Clone Wars.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he works as an explosives expert in the Thorolide mines of Cinda. And through his own research, he finds that the constant mining of Cinda will eventually cause the moon to explode. You keep on mining something, it's just gonna fall right apart.
Right.
And he tries to warn management, but they're not having any of it. But when he submits his well-researched report showing how this will happen, and this gets on the scope of Vidian.
Right. Yeah, so Vidian then reads this report and realizes, oh, well, if we just explode the planet Cinda, we can mine all the thorolide that we need from the broken bits.
The debris.
Yeah, from the debris, and it's much easier. We can do it with machines instead of people.
Yeah.
And so he like uses this report, this warning report, to actually try to explode and destroy Cinda.
Yeah, so he's the great manipulator.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then there's Zaluna, and she is a female Celestin.
Okay, well, what's a Celestin again?
9 Num.
Ah, okay. So it's kind of diminutive with the funny folds on their face.
Yeah, exactly,
Yes.
yeah. And she is a surveillance operator on Gorse.
Right. Now, this is so interesting. Now, because the Empire oversees the company that she works for, she inadvertently works for the Empire and does surveillance for the Empire. And I found her story fascinating because it provides this look at how the Empire keeps tabs on everyone.
Oh, there's cameras everywhere, all over the galaxy, and the Empire is watching.
Yes. So if you think of the movie Captain America, not Civil War, but the one before that.
Winter Soldier?
Winter Soldier, where the US was keeping tabs on everyone through their phones and everything, and they could pinpoint the people who would cause them problems in the future.
Oh, and before that, it was all Big Brother.
Right. So that's kind of what she does inadvertently. She knows where all the hidden cameras are, how to hack into them, and she feels she knows all the citizens of Gorse because she's watched them for years. So after reporting Skelly to the Empire because he was making threats, she saw him on surveillance. Vidian then beats Skelly to within an inch of his life.
This was a brutal scene.
Yeah. And then Zaluna realizes that her job was doing more harm than good. And this turns her. She ends up helping Kanan and Hera to stop Vidian from destroying Cinda. And it's really like without her, they wouldn't have gotten as far as they did because she helped them get into the various places that they needed to get to by hacking into the surveillance or deleting the surveillance cameras so they wouldn't see what Kanan and Hera were up to.
Yeah, you always need that person in a chair.
Oh yeah.
Somewhere in a control room.
Exactly. Yep.
All right. So now, being that this is the first time I've ever read this book, it was so interesting seeing all the little connections to the greater Star Wars story.
Right.
And the book opens with Caleb Doom.
That's right.
Training under Obi-Wan during the Clone Wars. And this was a very pivotal scene because Caleb asks if the Jedi beacon can call the Jedi, because right now they're really honing in on this Jedi beacon that can call Jedi all over the galaxy.
To the temple.
Right.
Right.
So Caleb asks, I don't know why he asks this, but can this beacon also serve as something that warns Jedi not to come back to the temple
or keep them away? Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. And Obi-Wan thinks for a moment.
It's like, let me file that away.
Yeah, and he's like, well, I suppose it could. Yes.
Yeah, and remember in Revenge of the Sith, I think Obi-Wan, he goes, wait a minute, didn't that little boy Caleb Doom say something about this? So during the Great Jedi Purge of the Jedi Temple, seen in Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan is able to put out a signal telling all the Jedis to stay away.
Yeah, that was a cool scene. And
yeah, I love that because now when you watch Revenge of the Sith, you watch that scene in a whole new way.
Yeah.
That Caleb Doom, Kanan Jarrus had a great impact on keeping the Jedi alive, as many as they could. And I really love that connection.
Nice. All right. Well, I feel like this book really exists to give us this great backstory to Kanan / Caleb Doom and see how he and Hera met. Now, Kanan, at this point in his character journey in the book, he's very much like Cassian in Andor. And he's at the beginning of the series. So Kanan is in his mid-20s. He's just flitting from job to job, just trying to get by. He's not building any nest eggs. He's just, whatever he can do to survive. He's a bit of a flirt.
Yes, he like Cassian, he's got friends of the night.
Yes, and in the book it actually states that the easiest rule to break from the Jedi Order is the monastic ways. He was like, yeah, breaking this rule right away.
That's hold on, let me make a check of this. First rule to break.
Yes, so let's assume he's just had a bunch of one-night stands. And he also pretty heavily comes on to Hera. And in fact, what's fun about him and Hera is the first thing he notices about Hera is her voice. And knowing that Vanessa Marshall voices Hera and her beautiful voice, like it's husky, it's
very
just
sultry.
It is. Yeah. And so they must have known at that point who was going to voice Hera. And I feel like John Jackson Miller used that in the novel.
Oh, yeah. The voice recordings were probably done at the same time this was being written.
Right. Now, Kanan in this book, he's hiding his true identity from the Empire. He never uses his Jedi powers unless it's life and death and unless he's alone. We only see him use them 2 times in this book. So once towards the beginning of the novel, when a mine he's in explodes and the rubble is about to fall on him. And so he's alone at that point and he kind of uses it to expel the rubble from around him like a force bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And the second time...
He's lifting rocks.
Yes! And a second time is a climax at the end of the novel. And this time it is to save him and Hera. And at that point, Hera realizes what he is or what he has been.
And his potential.
Right. But both times, now there is a point where you know that he has a lightsaber and he decides to take it with him, but he never uses it in this novel. And I feel like they saved that for the moment of the premiere of Star Wars Rebels, where at that final scene in, I think, part 2 of the premiere, he uses it.
Yeah, Spark of Rebellion.
To help the Wookiee, the little Wookiee, baby Wookiee.
Right.
Yeah.
So, at this point in 2014, Star Wars canon had been rebooted for about a little over 4 months. And we were about a month away from the premiere of Star Wars Rebels.
Wow.
And at New York Comic-Con in 2014, a week after Rebels premiered with the television film Spark of Rebellion, Vanessa Marshall spoke about why Hera singled out Kanan in A New Dawn. And Vanessa herself got to see where Kanan came from and his training as a Jedi, which gave her a deeper insight and understanding of the Kanan Jarrus character. So here's a soundbite from her panel.
She's very observant and keen on letting people show her who they are. And I think in A New Dawn, you get a sense of who Kanan is out of his pain and suffering, because Order 66 obviously devastated him. And you see the trials, you see in Spark of Rebellion that Ezra passes the test, as it were. So you see what those were for Kanan in A New Dawn. So I really enjoyed the specificity of it. It helped me better understand why I chose him to be a part of the mission. It's a difficult time for Kanan, because if you rip out the lightsaber, you will die. Yep. So he wants to tell Hera who he is, but there's a risk that he could be killed. So there's that constant thread of tension where they want to show each other who they really are. I think Hera sees pieces of that in him and hopes that that is the case. But it's such a dark time for everyone that everyone's sort of playing close to the vest. And it's fun to sort of watch them open up to one another in that way.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Also, I wonder what's going on in the background of New York City Comic Con. There's cheers
there's a
coming from
applause.
everywhere.
You would think that it's for what she's saying, but I think there's another panel going on.
Yeah, something happened. Yeah.
Very, very close.
Well, wow. So and knowing Vanessa Marshall, she absolutely read that book.
Oh, of course she did. Yeah. Now,
She's a big Star Wars fan.
The one thing about Hera's character, we were introduced to her as a little girl in The Bad Batch.
That's right.
Where she had Chopper. Where's Chopper?
Oh.
Where's Chopper?
That's a good question.
Yeah, so Chopper is not in this book.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like he wasn't a character that had been created yet. He had been created. So it's
You know what I just realized? Beyond Vidian, who's a cyborg, there are no droids in this book.
Hmm.
No, it's all people. And
Mhm.
usually in Star Wars, you have at least one droid companion. I'm
Right.
trying to think. No, you don't.
Yeah.
No droids.
We got to ask John Jackson Miller this because
Yeah.
I'm very, very intrigued.
Now that, like, I didn't necessarily miss it, but now that I know it, I'm like, well, where's the
Oh,
droid?
Chopper, he provides so much character and so much comedy.
Yeah, but it's really a lot of physical comedy, like, you know, that you see
Yeah.
on screen.
And the book would have to be PG-18 if Chopper were in it.
He's a murder droid. Very
Yeah.
first time he gets annoyed with a droid and he pushes him down the big shaft and
Later.
to its death.
I can fix
God.
this. Chopper is the Rebels fixer. Problem? See ya. All right.
It's bad.
Now, in this next clip, Vanessa goes into how A New Dawn helped her prepare for her performance in Rebels as Hera Syndulla on a psychological level.
It is so vivid and it's written so well. I really enjoyed it. It was devastating to see how the Empire literally was exterminating people without any care, no compassion. It's hard not to plug those variables into things that are going on in our society today that are upsetting. And so I remember the recording session that was directly after reading, that I did after reading the novel. I felt a sense of intimacy with Kanan and a deeper understanding for their losses.
It's very important to know how tyrannical the Empire is, and when you're watching the films, you don't really get the idea. Well, they blow up Alderaan, but on a macro level, as to how they treat the galaxy. They're there to restore peace and order. But if you go against the Empire in any way, even if the Empire decides, hey, you're guilty, it's like, I didn't do anything. But if the Empire decides you're guilty, like an Andor, then
Right.
they will destroy your lives. In this book, and then in Rebels, it really shows on a very micro macro level how the Empire will just crush you. If they think for a moment you are in their way, they will crush you.
Well, especially with the surveillance that they do.
Yeah, exactly. And they can take it out of context too.
Yeah. Again, I really loved that character Zaluna and the fact that she was a surveillance operative. She really loved her job. She explained why, because she gets to watch like the same people every day going about their lives. She feels she knows them intimately. It's like when you watch like Friends every week, you invite them into your home.
Yeah, so now they become your friends.
Yeah. So something like that. Wow.
Now, I've never heard of such preparation for a role in an animated show. And actors will get into their actory methods for a film, but I've never heard of anyone, an actor, doing that in an animated show. Most times, the voiceover actors are given the script on their way to the recording studio.
Oh, yeah.
We've heard that story a million times from the cast of the Clone Wars and Rebels. But she got to read a whole novel about her character and their relationships toward the other significant characters. And this I'm sure she carried this book around everywhere she went, because everything she needed to know about Hera was right here in the novel.
Plus, it helped. Like I know specifically for Star Wars Rebels, Dave Filoni had them all record in the studio together. For most of the sessions, as many as they could. When
they could, because it really helps to bounce off of someone else. Now, I'm not sure if Freddie Prinze Jr. had read.
I don't know. He's a Star Wars fan too.
Yeah, exactly. And his performance as Kanan really lines up to what we read of what Kanan's all about. But Hera has more of a psychological story going into this. How the Empire just crushed down on Ryloth and her father, Chem Syndulla, getting caught up in politics, and the Empire just destroying their home. Well, then again, Kanan's life was destroyed too. His master was cut down right before his eyes. So yeah, these characters have a big grievance against the Empire.
Yes, they do.
But it was great that this clip existed from 10 years ago, where you really got to see how Vanessa Marshall dove into her performance as Hera.
Yeah, I'm really glad you found that. Now, this novel, I remember the thing that I remembered most from reading this novel in 2014. The thing that stuck with me was Hera and Kanan and how they met. Like, this is basically how they met. And, you know, Kanan, first of all, hears her voice, but then he sees this green Twi'lek and, you know, and he's like, ooh, she's pretty hot, you know? And Hera herself, in the novel, it's described that she knows that she's pleasing to the eye, and she uses this to her advantage to infiltrate various places, you know, where places she needs to go. Oh, I forgot my badge, you know? Oh, it's my first day. You know, she says stuff like that to get into this facility on the moon. Yeah. And
well, female Twi'leks.
well, yeah, I know. Yeah.
They're a very sultry bunch. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, she also uses her wiles to recruit people to her cause, and I just think it's really funny that Kanan really comes on to her several times, but she keeps him at arm's length. She's like, okay. And then, you know, all throughout the novel, he's like flirting with her a lot, I would say. But
every chance he can get.
Yeah, but it's not until the very end of the novel, you know, they've been through this episode together where they've saved the destruction of the moon, Cinda, right? Yeah, and so then after that, Hera and Kanan are kind of like, oh, what should we actually like decide to work together? And then Hera agrees to take Kanan on as basically a ship mechanic, like a helper, not necessarily to join her cause, but
she sees the potential.
She sees potential, yes, and she knows that he has been a Jedi. Is force sensitive, and so at the very end of the novel, she takes him into this hangar, and it's the ghost, and he falls in love with the ghost.
Yeah, it's like when a guy really likes a girl and she's got a puppy or a kitten, he fawns all over the pet.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny. But in this case, he really loved it because he was driving ships that were just very old.
Clunkers, big freighter cargo ships. Now,
I thought that was great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So Hera knows that she's attracted to him, and she knows how much he's attracted to her. But, you know, there's a little cat and mouse game going on there. But you see the beginning of a long-term relationship. Now, the book, like we said earlier, begins with a foreword by Dave Filoni, but in the audiobook, the foreword was at the very end of the book in a recorded message.
So we are going to listen to it now because it's fairly fascinating, and we're going to comment on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What?
So is Mark Thompson reading it?
Yes, Mark Thompson is reading it.
All right.
So just so you know that Mark Thompson is reading Dave Filoni's note.
By Dave Filoni, executive producer and supervising director of the animated series Star Wars Rebels. Star Wars is an incredibly creative galaxy where storytellers have sent Jedi on countless missions, explored numerous planets, and discovered hidden treasures since 1977. I grew up with the original trilogy. And as the years passed by, I read the books and comics, I played the games, I saw the re-releases, and I could not believe it when one day I sat in a theater and the screen said, Episode 1. It was a day I had waited for a long, long time. I went to all the prequels on opening night, stood in lines like we all did, went to the Midnight Madness toy releases. I really enjoyed the community that had grown up around the Star Wars universe. Little did I know that before the final prequel film was released, I would move to Northern California and begin work on Star Wars: The Clone Wars right alongside the maker, George Lucas. I felt like I had won some Star Wars lottery. But I also felt a tremendous responsibility to all the people I knew who loved Star Wars to make sure that I got it right. As my own personal Jedi training began, I always had George there to answer the deeper questions, to make certain that we got it right, that we truly made Star Wars the way he wanted it. He used to joke with my crew and me, telling us that he had been teaching us the ways of the Force, so that one day, when he retired, Star Wars could keep on going without him. I'm not sure we ever believed him until it happened. So how do we move forward? And how do we make sure we get it right? Very simply, we trust in the Force. And we trust one another. We came together as a group and found the best talent. People who, like you and me, love Star Wars and want to make it great. Who want to capture the feeling that it gave all of us, that inspired all of us. More than at any other time in its existence, new Star Wars stories are being told every day. More important, the old concept of what is canon and what isn't is gone. And from this point forward, our stories and characters all exist in the same universe. The key creatives who work on the films, television, comic books, video games, and novels are all connected creatively for the first time in the history of the Star Wars universe. A New Dawn is a result of this method of story collaboration here at Lucasfilm. As executive producers of Star Wars Rebels, Greg Weisman, Simon Kinberg, and I had input on the story and characters working with author John Jackson Miller. I even got to make comments on the look of Kanan and Hera for the cover. Maybe a small detail to some, but it was exciting to be a part of that process, and to know the characters would remain true to their intended design. I really hope you enjoyed this story, and that it enriched your experience and knowledge of the characters in Star Wars Rebels. There are still countless worlds to visit, countless aliens to meet, and with the incredible talent we have coming to work at Lucasfilm, the way forward looks clear. Last, I must thank you. Whether this is your first Star Wars adventure or one of many over the years, thank you. Thank you for your dedication to and passion for the Star Wars galaxy. Because of fans like you around the world, the Force will be with us always. Dave Filoni.
So here is the foreword read at the very end of the book by Mark Thompson, who narrated the audiobook.
It's funny to hear Dave speak about, he went to all the Midnight Madness and all the premieres.
Yeah.
And you took pictures with him.
Hung out for a little bit with Dave Filoni at the Revenge of the Sith premiere in Hollywood, but he was all decked out as Plo Koon, and I was General Grievous, so we never saw each other's faces, but I really like the commitment to he and his friend who was dressed as Kit Fisto.
Yeah.
Like, wow, these guys are these little known Jedis. Those are some fans. I wonder where they'll go in the future. So John Jackson Miller got the chance to write this with Dave Filoni on the other end of the phone, so you can say, hey, what about this? What would these characters do in this situation? And he also had the Star Wars story group too.
Yeah.
Whereas the other books, this is where things got messy. Like, do we need a story group? No, we'll just write and see what happens.
Yeah.
Or George Lucas just said, guys, write whatever you want, and girls, write whatever you want, but just know I can undo your work if need be.
Right.
But now this time, everything was just all aligned. So it was John Jackson Miller, Dave Filoni, and the Lucasfilm Story Group all coming together for one cohesive story that would eventually dovetail into Rebels and the beginning of the new Star Wars timeline. And then you said,
I'm sorry, I was reading Leilani's little thing here. I was trying to.
All right, Leilani is now in the Sky Chat. Hey, Leilani, asking us about LA Comic-Con. But no, we won't be able to attend LA Comic-Con.
Okay, I thought the last day. Well, we don't know.
No, that's in October.
Oh, okay.
We're gunning for the other LA Comic-Con in December.
Okay, got it.
But when we get accepted for our trivia panels, you'll be the first one that we contact, because we need Leilani Shu as our scorekeeper.
Absolutely.
And our live streamer. All right, so Skywalkers, have you read A New Dawn, what do you think? And what did you think when you heard that Star Wars was going to be rebooted? Did anyone go, phew, about time? Like me? I was just so concerned about what books to get into, because how
Right.
does this affect things, and how important is this?
Right. Yeah, I was a little happy to hear that. And that's when I got into the comics, when all the comics were rebooted.
Oh,
And
yeah.
now, of course, they're too scattered again. I can't get back into them. But at that point, it was like doable.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
So, yeah. I did like that part of it. Now, it's interesting in that Dave Filoni soundbite, you know that Dave Filoni puts a lot of care into what the fans are going to think about things, and that has really shown through these last 10 years, I would say.
Yeah, and thank goodness he's now in charge of the creative forces over there at Lucasfilm.
Yes.
We're in good hands. Mandalorian and Grogu coming soon to a theater near you,
Yeah.
and we know it will be coming to a theater near you.
Ah,
All right.
hold on a second. Oh. Can I
I thought you had a note after this, which is why.
Oh, I
went
just
over
want
to
to
you.
mention one more thing. Yeah, I want to mention one more thing.
Oh, we didn't do this part.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. ADR.
So now I think it's important to look at A New Dawn in the context of the time it was out and how that's really affected the Star Wars story going forward.
Mm-hmm. Well, first and foremost, this leads into Rebels, and we see how the Ghost crew, or the Spectres, began forming.
Now, wouldn't it have been cool if we heard Spectre something? Like how
Yeah.
that formed? I guess that's not there yet because they're just people. They're not a rebel cell yet.
Right.
at this
Or
point.
really a crew.
Right.
Hera is more of a crew of one.
Yes.
And where's Chopper?
I know. Yeah. And also in this novel, we got a great look at how the Empire uses that surveillance to squash individuals and rebellions before they start. It's a very important factor of why the Empire was able to have such a tight grip on the galaxy.
Yeah, we see once again we see this a lot in the upcoming Rebels series, and really in Andor. That
Yeah.
whole Arcana 5
Narkina. Yes.
and the whole Narkina 5 arc,
Yeah.
where it really showed that you can be guilty, you can be innocent. We're gonna call you guilty so we can use you as a slave.
Hmm.
Now go build that Death Star.
Exactly. Yeah, this book and this series I feel works really well in tandem with Andor because each develops individuals and small groups, and they show some oppression from the Empire in different ways and how this really affects individuals and how it causes them to rebel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. All right. The Empire really is the cause and the catalyst for the rebellion.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. The more you tighten your grip, Tarkin, the
Yeah.
more star systems will slip through your fingers. That is a very I think
That's
of
very
that.
poignant.
It is. I think of that phrase every time you see this Empire try to they tried to close the grip on Marva's funeral, right? And you saw
Andor.
what happened in Andor. Yeah, you saw what happened. Everyone rebelled.
Yeah.
And they used Marva's brick to bludgeon a stormtrooper. I mean, come on.
All right.
Jeez.
Now, Amy Hawkins in the Sky Chat is saying, yes, I liked A New Dawn. It was a fun read, and I love to learn more about character backstories.
Yes, definitely, Amy. That's
Yeah.
always good. And novels are great for that, getting into the psychology of a character, as Vanessa Marshall used.
Now, also, how does this affect the Star Wars storyline moving forward? Because Vidian was not successful in destroying the moon of Cinda to mine the Thorolide, the Empire can't build their Star Destroyers as fast.
Right.
But you know what that means? That means they're going to tighten their grip even stronger on other systems that may have little traces of Thorolide or something that could replace Thorolide. So once one way of doing something has been destroyed
or depleted,
the Empire will say, okay, now we're really upset. Now, because of this is going to really not affect other systems in a good way, because now we're really angry and others are going to feel the repercussions.
Yeah. Bad.
And this book and this series really works well works well Did you want to read this one since I did a lot on this one?
I thought, which one? I just read that. I did that already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're done.
All right, so yeah, so we'll cut that in later on.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Skywalkers. Well, I had a good time reading A New Dawn, and Skywalkers, we want to know what you thought about the novel or about where this story has led to. So please share with us in the comments.
Now it's time once again to thank the Skywalking Force, our Patreon, the lifeblood, the oxygen, the secret sauce of Skywalking Through Neverland.
So thank you so much to Anthony Kakias,
Blessed Cheesemaker,
Bryn McKinnon,
Carl Fox,
Chica Fent,
Christopher Marino,
Courtney Turkel,
Dale Erdman,
Darren Irvine,
Dave Kerwin,
Don Glover,
Derek Beebe,
Garrett Sessions.
Glenn Stein,
Oh, these are not in. Jeremy and Heather Hunt,
John Liang,
John Zancanaro,
Jonathan Chiato,
Jordan Paley,
Julie Caruana,
Julie and James Gildersleeve,
Justin Smith,
Cato Ryder,
Kelly Turkel,
Kristen Carr, or Happiest Club on Earth,
Laura Bryce,
Leanne Nelson,
Meredith Duckworth,
Michael Corbett,
Michael Knipp,
Mike Ward,
Nancy Steinman,
Patrick Pine,
Patty Hammond,
Patty Nazarian,
Peter and Norma Heitman,
Reynold Gobey,
Robert Avia,
Ryan Wiltberger,
Sasha Barrios,
Scott Carmichael,
Scott Hume,
Taryn Bench,
Wesley Meecombs,
William Magalio,
and Wynn Patterson. And we know what that Scott Carmichael and Scott Hume like to hear their name being read on the Skywalking Force portion of the show. So we'll say Scott Carmichael and Scott Hume. Get a little more emphasis.
Got it.
So thank you once again to everyone who has participated in the Skywalking Force. We have gotten these new microphones and our little lavalier microphones, which we're able to bring to conventions and parks, and our gimbal, the stuff, and the Libsyn posting. It costs money, and well, you guys really step forward and help us to finance Skywalking Through Neverland
And improve too, because we don't want to stay the same. We don't want to stay stagnant. We always want to improve. So we thank you, and we welcome your suggestions as well as to what content you would like to hear or see. So look forward though. Agatha All Along is coming up. So is Skeleton Crew. We'll definitely be covering those, and we're so excited.
So that wraps up episode 481 of Skywalking Through Neverland. We want to thank all the Skywalkers out there for listening to the podcast on your favorite podcatcher or watching us on YouTube. Remember, we need, what did we say? Seven more subscribers to hit the 9,100 mark.
Oh, so exciting.
I'm not worried.
You can also find us on all our socials as at Skywalking Pod.
Now, do you have something to share? Well, we do, and we do every Monday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time on our live things we want to share on YouTube.
Yes, we update you on our live appearances. We share things we've done. Next week, we'll probably be talking about the Halloween half marathon. And also, we invite you Skywalkers to come on. You can always pop on screen or just share in the comments something that you've done or something that you've just added to your collection. This past week, Glenn Stein came on and unboxed some things for us. So he opened some blind bags. That was really fun.
What were those? Plushables? Doables?
Doorables.
These little adorable Phantom Menace little figures.
Yeah.
Big eyes.
Yeah, it was cute. So if you have blind bags you want to unbox on our things we want to share, we welcome you, because we don't buy blind bags. But if you do, we want to see them.
And I unboxed this Luke Skywalker, which is standing right here next to the Captain Rex helmet.
It was fun.
Now, are you interested in our books?
Yes.
Are you interested in our books, Today in Star Wars History and Skywalking Through My Fandom, the interactive notebook? Well, you can get them at skywalkingthrough.neverland.com/books, and that's where you can get them autographed.
Ooh.
Or you can go to Amazon and they'll just ship them to you. I'm not sure anyone from Amazon will autograph them.
No, they won't.
Mm-mm.
So they are available at skywalkingthroughneverland.com/book. All right, Skywalkers, if you want your name read every month on our show or shown in the credits of every YouTube video, you can head to skywalkingforce.com. This is our Patreon, and you can see the different ways that you can support us there. Agatha All Along, like we said, is next month. We'll be starting up our discussions every other week for the Skywalking Force, and you'll also get a coupon code to use for our books.
Now, we want to thank our sponsor once again, Small World Vacations, for their continued support. Thinking of a trip to a Disney park or a Disney cruise, where you can fill out a get a quote form at smallworldvacations.com today. Their vacation planning service is free of charge, and when something is free, you take advantage of it. So head over there to smallworldvacations.com and tell them Skywalking Through Neverland sent you.
Now we are part of the Skywalking Network,
Skynet,
where you can find other great shows like Talking Apes,
where we're going to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the TV series when our next episode comes out on September the 13th, which is the official 50-year anniversary of the Planet of the Apes TV series.
Whoa, that's amazing.
And
oh my gosh.
And I was there.
I wasn't.
You can oh, Amy Hawkins said in the Sky Chat, Skynet.
Love it.
You can find other shows like the Max FX podcast,
The Neverland Clubhouse,
Totally Tell Me Everything,
Star Warsologies,
and the YouTube shows Collectopolis and Today in Star Wars History. Now, don't forget to stick around for bloopers and other fun bits that didn't make it into the show right after the credits. And
always remember
to include Chopper in your stories.
And
Neverland on Alderaan. Boom.
That was funny.
Oh, 1 hour exactly.
Oh, wow. Look at
Let me
that.
cut down.
Pausing this. Pause. I think so.
Yeah. We did our ADRs already.
Yeah. All right, Skywalkers. Well, great. Thank you for joining us. We love your comments. And this episode will be up, edited version on Thursday.
Yes.
Yay. All right. We'll talk to you guys later.
Later.
Bye, everybody.